The habitat shimmered with a faint blue light, reflecting off the armored scales of the alien cubs clustered in the far corner. Zira had never seen creatures like these before, small, no larger than a human toddler, yet covered in segmented metallic plates that clinked softly as they shifted. Their eyes glowed with intelligence, curious but cautious, as if they understood far more than they should for their age. Zira tugged at the sleeves of her pajamas, feeling conspicuously out of place. On this research station orbiting Vera 3, everyone else wore the standard protective exosuits. Scientists, engineers, and security personnel all moved carefully, their armor designed to withstand the Cubs' latent strength, which had already toppled containment walls during previous tests. But Zira was different. She was a human child of 10, brought here not as a test subject, but as part of an initiative the station's lead xenobiologist had insisted upon. The reasoning was simple. The Cubs responded to calmness, empathy, and unpredictability, not to authority or intimidation. The Cubs tilted their heads at her, emitting soft clicks that vibrated in the air. Zira approached slowly, keeping her movements deliberate but relaxed. One of the Cubs, slightly larger than the rest and sporting a golden streak along its armored ridge, stepped forward. Its claws scraped the floor, but it did not advance aggressively. Instead, it sniffed the air, as if gauging her scent. "Hello," Zira whispered, her voice small but steady. "I'm Zira. I won't hurt you." The Cub's head cocked, and it clicked twice, a sound that the monitors interpreted as curiosity rather than hostility. Encouraged, Zira squatted down, holding out her small hands. Slowly, deliberately, she extended her fingers toward the Cub's armored head. After a tense moment, it leaned into her touch, the metal plating vibrating softly under her fingertips. The scientists and security personnel watched in astonishment from behind reinforced glass. Dr. Ralvin, the xenobiologist responsible for the Cubs' care, whispered, "She's doing what we never could. She's connecting with them." Night came quickly on Vera 3, and the Cubs retreated to their sleeping pads, metallic bedding lined with soft fibers. Zira, by now fully trusted, followed and sat among them. The Cubs shifted uneasily at first, but when she began humming a gentle tune, they relaxed. One by one, the armored creatures curled around her, their segmented bodies surprisingly warm. Zira felt a surge of awe. These creatures, built for defense and combat, had never shown such vulnerability to anyone before. As she lay down in her pajamas, surrounded by the Cubs, she realized the depth of the bond forming. The Cubs' eyes watched her with vigilance, yet their armored bodies conformed to her presence, molding protectively around her. For the first time, Zira understood that trust was not forced. It was earned through patience, empathy, and consistency. The next morning brought challenges. A containment breach in the station's other labs had triggered alarms, and the Cubs' instinctive responses were immediate. While the armored humans moved with precision and protocol, Zira remained calm, her small presence influencing the Cubs' behavior. They did not panic. They followed her subtle cues, sidestepping dangers, and even alerting the staff with coordinated clicks and body movements. Dr. Ralvin shook his head in disbelief. They respond to her, she's guiding them, not the other way around. Days passed and the bond deepened. Zira learned to communicate with subtle gestures, tilting her head, extending a hand, or tapping lightly on the metal floor. Each Cub had its own personality, one playful, one cautious, another fiercely protective. Yet all responded to her presence, trusting her implicitly, even when the station's automated systems tested their reflexes with sudden obstacles or loud noises. It was during a particularly severe simulation, a sudden depressurization drill, that the depth of the connection revealed itself. The station's alarm screamed, lights flashed red, and the cubs froze, poised to defend themselves. Zira, lying on her back in her pajamas, raised her hands slowly and spoke softly. The cubs hesitated, then one by one settled into positions that protected her and each other, forming a living shield. Their armored plates absorb impacts, and their agile movements guided human staff away from danger. The incident made the Council of Station Administrators take notice. "This child, she's achieving what trained soldiers could not," said Commander Valen. "She's creating synergy between species, not domination." Zira's nights became routine, yet extraordinary. Each evening, she would lie down in the cubs' sleeping area, and they would arrange themselves around her. Some pressed armored heads against her back. Others curled like living blankets over her legs. Zira began to speak softly to them about Earth, about sunlight filtering through trees, the smell of rain, the taste of fresh fruit. Though the cubs could not comprehend human language fully, they absorbed her tone, rhythm, and intent. Over time, she noticed subtle changes in their behavior, gentler clicks, slower movements, and a patience previously unseen in their species. Weeks later, a crisis arrived that tested the bond like never before. A rogue faction of alien raiders, attracted to the research station's experimental programs, attacked. The human crew scrambled, armor clanking as they moved to defensive positions. The cubs, sensing danger, reacted instinctively, but chaos reigned. It was Zira, lying in her pajamas among them, who held the key. She tapped on the armored floor, a low rhythmic pattern, and began humming a song of calm. The cubs paused, then arranged themselves strategically, creating barriers, guiding crew members to safety, and even intercepting rogue drones with precise, coordinated movements. The armor humans acted in tandem with the cubs, but only because Zira had silently directed their instincts. By dawn, the raiders had been repelled. Damage to the station was minimal, and not a single cub was harmed. The administrators finally understood the magnitude of Zira's influence. She had not commanded them through fear or technology, but through trust. In the aftermath, Dr. Ralvin observed the cubs' behavior. "They are changed," she said softly. "Zira has taught them empathy and restraint. They trust her completely, more than any human could have expected." Zira, unaware of the attention she had drawn, simply continued her nightly routine. She lay in her pajamas, humming softly as the cubs nestled around her. One particularly large cub, now her constant companion, rested its armored head on her chest. She whispered to it about the skies of Earth, the feeling of wind on her face, and the promise of exploration. The cub's eyes glowed brighter, reflecting a comprehension that was not merely instinctive, but profoundly emotional. Months later, the research station's mission shifted from containment and observation to mutual cooperation. Humans and alien cubs worked side by side, exploring new terrains, sharing knowledge, and developing technologies together. But the central figure remained the same: Zira, the child in pajamas, whose calm presence had united species, redefined trust, and demonstrated that courage and empathy were more powerful than armor or weaponry.